Kenya tunayoipenda, tuwe tayari kuilinda. Na tujenge taifa letu. Ndio wajibu wetu. Kenya istahili heshima. Tuungane mikono pamoja kazini, kila siku tuwe na shukrani.
The East African Debate, dubbed DAR Open Debate and Public Speaking Championship 2024 edition, took place in Tanzania at the Sri Hindu Mandal schools at the heart of the city of Dar es Salaam. The event brought together at least 30 different schools from Kenya, with over 40 teams participating in English, French and Swahili debates, as well as in public speaking competitions. The teams, organized by Amani Clubs in Kenya, began the journey from Ribe Boys High School in Mombasa through to Lungalunga border post, where an intense document verification and inspection took place before clearance to the Tanzanian side. After at least 14 hours of journey by bus from the border, the Kenyan team finally arrived in Dar es Salaam Friday 29th in the evening. The team took little rest from the gruesome and long journey and accommodated at Msimbazi Center. Saturday morning on 30th, and students together with their patrons are all ready for the day's entry.
It's a wonderful morning. We had a tough journey actually, a long journey, a tiresome one, but we're here and we thank God, and we expect so much in this competition. We expect it to be spectacular and gorgeous. But all in all, we trust in God and we're going to win and go home as winners, as champions.
The students, jovial and attracted to the environment, more than 500 kilometers from their homeland, Kenya. Breakfast is served before proceeding to about 15 minutes journey to the Sri Mandal school, where the competitions are set to be done. The Kenyan teams arrive and received with warmth and given a The session begins with opening remarks and climate setting by the school management and the delegation from Kenya.
I understand the transformative power of education. It is not merely about academic, but about nurturing young minds to be critical thinker, empathetic leaders, and agent of positive change. This aligns perfectly with the mission of TCRO.
During that post-election violence, it was observed that it is young children or students who were messed up, because our schools were turned into IDP camps. People were asked to move away from where they were staying to go back to their homeland. Some people had left their ancestral home very many years ago, so they did not know anybody. So NCC was established, and one mandate of NCC was to ensure that a situation like that one does not occur in our country. And so we thought it wise that peace, our children in schools be taught peace, because if we don't do it, somebody else will take advantage and teach them violence. So our schools have these clubs, and the major objective is to promote peaceful coexistence. That in spite of us coming from different tribes, different races, when we meet in the school, we need to coexist.
Mine, once again, is to take this opportunity to thank our host for hosting us, and I believe that we are going to enjoy this competition.
The draws for the debating teams are done. Judges are briefed and assigned various pairs before commencement of the first motion of the day. The ball is set rolling by the motion on whether or not the East African community should prioritize East African pesos over the UN one.
A UN one undermines global legitimacy and neutrality as a regional force may have political basis. The EAC lacks the resources and training and global support that the UN peacekeepers offer, which could limit their effectiveness rather than choosing all of us. Resources, limitation, and capacity constraints first in the East African community. Secondly, a UN peace force brings with it a crucial element of neutrality and impartiality in conflict zones and perceptions of bias and undermine peacekeeping efforts. An East African peace force comprising troops from neighboring countries might be perceived as biased by conflict parties, potentially escalating tensions. For instance, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, neighboring countries like Rwanda and Uganda have been accused of supporting different factions within the conflict, which could compromise the perceived neutrality of a regional force. The UN as an international body is a general seen as more neutral, enhancing its ability to mediate and resolve conflicts effectively. The practical challenges and limitations make it a less viable option compared to a UN peace force. The UN's resources, neutrality, and global support are indispensable and effective peacekeeping to the region. Therefore,
lack of knowledge that the net now Teresa stands here in full and strong proposition to the motion that states this House believes that the East African community should prioritize an East African peace force over a UN one. I haven't yet understood what you're saying because they really are literally reading everything. So how the hell do you expect us to believe your arguments when you don't give us any citations? Any stance, you haven't given facts and figures. We want facts and figures from where you have gotten your arguments from. Check on that, please. Now, to my first point, actually encourage regional understanding and context among East African countries. Now, these East African community countries include Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, South Sudan, and Uganda. They have a deep understanding of the social, cultural dynamics, historical conflicts, and political landscapes of the region. Now, this insight can lead to more effective conflict resolution strategies than those offered by external entities like the UN. Now, the East African Peace Force was introduced in 1999, you should know that, and it was adapted in 2006 on November. Now it is more experienced than the UN one, which want us to adapt. Now, to my second point, we have timeliness of responses. It offers faster deployment. Why am I saying this, ladies and gentlemen? Now, the East African community can mobilize peacekeeping forces and interventions more rapidly than the UN, which often faces delays. Now, why am I saying this? For instance, the East African Community Regional Force had been formed quickly in response to the crisis in South Sudan. I believe you all are aware of this or have had this. The terrorist attack was responded quickly, and this is due to the help of the East African Peace Force, which you don't want us to adapt. Now, since you go at this.
The motion takes interesting twists and turns.
It's okay. You can sit. Enable us to live peace. We are here. How do you feel after singing the song? How is it fantastic? You see, prioritizing the East African Peace Force over the UN one, just as the East African anthem says, enable us to live in peace and harmony. How do you feel when you about this? By the way, from where I am here, the bench, I'd like you to see it from a point of view. I can see 3 birds. Following one bird, and from where I am, I can see a dish. You are married. You fight as a couple. You go and another party. Will the party solve the problem? No, because even if you tell him or her the cause root of the problem, he or she will not understand because he was not there. So we should understand the root of our problem. We as African countries, before taking it to the UN to solve our problems. I know the bank will agree with me on that. As I go straight to my first point, I'm going to talk about local knowledge and contextual understanding. The East African peoples, East African countries have the local knowledge, they have the local understanding of their problems. Why do we want to take our problems outside? They say in a Swahili party, usimwage mtama mbele.
The teams tackling each other bare knuckle.
History keeps repeating itself, and as they say, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I, Ofin Miteva, I'm here to do my job. I will detest, decrude, and completely dehire what this motion is saying, because as the opposers, we are here to support the United Nations peace force. We are here to talk about the United Nations peace force. We're also here to talk about the East African peace force, but I'm not really sure about what things mean. Now, for us, the opposers, our United Nations peacekeeping operations are, in principle, deployed to support the implementation of a ceasefire or peace agreement. We all have that, right? And now, you talking about East Africa peace force. I'm sure you don't know about this. Now, let me educate you. It started in 1999 and adopted in November 2006 by the 16th Council of Ministers meeting. And this is according to Makerere University Department of History and Government. Now, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. You're saying that we will burden the nation, the other nations by focusing on a UN peace force. Then you also talk of biblical allusion that God cannot help us if we don't help ourselves. Now, which verse is that? Which book? Statistics? Facts? You can't listen to you if you don't have facts.
The Swahili teams equally up to the task.
Compared to the United Nations, the countries funding or contributing to the United Nations are 193 countries, not like East African Community, which only have less countries. So the amount of money which will be contributed by the United Nations towards maintaining this peace is higher than the amount of money which will be contributed by the East African Community to prioritize an East African peace force, and therefore there will be resource limitation. After this is done, only 30% of East African community countries meet the minimum defense spending recommendation by the African Union. Actually, a reason why the East African Standard Force came to fail.
As Africans, all that we have, and when we have a problem, the first thing that we think of is help from the UN. We will not better ourselves. What we want as Africans, what we want as East Africa is to be able to progress. We want to progress. We do not want to stay stagnant. What they are proposing is stagnation. What we are proposing is development of East Africa. Why? Because when we as East Africans help each other, we will be able to build each other. Now, I would like to say, which goes on with my point, that Professor Pierre Lumumba said, said that light cannot drive out darkness. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can. Therefore, when you say that UN peace forces will be able to counter the happenings in Africa, that is not true. What we are trying to say is African problems will only be solved with African solutions.
Kuwa na jeshi la kudumisha amani la kikanda kunapunguza utegemezi wa Umoja wa Mataifa na mashirika mengine ya kimataifa na kuimarisha jukumu la Afrika Mashariki kama mwangalizi wa amani na usalama katika eneo hili. Lakini kwa njia hii sisi tunajielewa na tunajiamini. Kwa hivyo haina haja ushinde tumewategemea wale wa mataifa wa Umoja wa Mataifa, maana watashinda kutushusha hadhi. Watasema bila sisi wao hawawezi chochote, lazima tuwategemee. Na kwa hivyo si vizuri. Sisi wote ni wanadamu, tuna uwezo sawa sawa. Kwa hivyo sisi tumejitahidi kikamilifu na tunaweza kuanzisha jeshi la amani la Afrika Mashariki ndiposa tuweze kutatua mizozo na shida zozote zinazotukumba katika jumuiya yetu ya Afrika Mashariki.
Kwanza naanza na kukosoa wenzetu hapa. Tuko hapa ili tukosoane na natumai mtakubali mambo ambayo nitawaambia sababu ni makosa mmefanya na nimejitolea kuwakosoa. Kwanza mmesema kuwa mwenzetu hapa alipotoka tangu mwanzo, na tunakushukuru sababu ulifunga tangu mwanzo. Uliposema kuwa ni kuanzisha kwa jeshi la Afrika Mashariki. Tafadhali tuelewe maana. Hata majaji wetu wako na mada hapa. Inasema ni kutanguliza hiyo jeshi ya Afrika Mashariki. Tayari ipo hata takwimu zimeonyesha, hata wakati ambapo ilianzishwa ni 2022. Kama mfanyeni mtafiti mjue zaidi. Ishaanzishwa. Maana inasema kuitanguliza. Tena mwenzetu ukaendelea ukatuambia nini? Na sikupingi mimi napinga mada yako. Sisi sote napinga tu hiyo mada yako. Ukitoa hiyo mada, ukitoa hizo hoja zako, wewe ni mzuri kabisa. Sababu ya pili umesema kuwa uwezo kuwa ili jeshi la Afrika Mashariki lina uwezo wa kutatua hiyo migogoro haraka. Tena nikuulize swali. Umoja wa Mataifa ni nini? Umoja wa Mataifa ni taifa, hata katika jina lenyewe tumesikia, ni taifa mingi zimekuja pamoja na kuunda kitu kimoja ambacho kinaitwa Umoja wa Mataifa. Kwa hivyo hata hizi nchi zenyewe ni ndani ya hiyo Umoja wa Mataifa. Pia jeshi zake ndizo ambazo hutumika katika kutatua migogoro. Si eti Umoja wa Mataifa iko na jeshi lake. Nani anajua jeshi la Umoja wa Mataifa? Ni jeshi za nchi ambazo zinatumika katika katika kuitatua migogoro. Kwa hivyo ukisema mambo ya haraka sielewi unasema nini?
Umoja wa Mataifa unaweza kutatua suluhisho hiyo kwa urahisi. Mzangu umesema kwamba tukiwa na kikosi chetu cha Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki tunaweza kuitatua kwa urahisi. Hicho ni kinaya. Umoja wa Mataifa una teknolojia ulioendelea kabisa. Unauelewa vizuri wa jinsi ambavyo vita vinazidi kufanyika humu nchini na jinsi ambavyo vitatatua. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu wamekuwa na uelewa huo wa kutatua zaidi ya vita hivyo kuanzia mwaka 1949. Hapo ndipo ilianza kutatua shida humu duniani baada ya vita vya pili duniani. Hivyo Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki ilianzishwa hivi majuzi, hadi naweza sema bado ni mtoto. Hajakuwa vizuri. Unaweza kuwa mtoto aenda kupigana? Huwezi kumtoa mtoto akapigana.
Ningependa kuiunga mada hii na ambavyo mwenzangu kwanza ningependa kumwambia kuwa mtegemea cha mkuu kufa maskini. Kivipi? Unasema kuwa eti UN wana teknolojia na sisi wenyewe hatuna teknolojia. Je, wewe ujiamini? Mbona wewe mwenyewe usijiamini kuwa unaweza tatua tatizo hili badala ya mtu mwingine wa nje kuja kutatulia tatizo? Ni kama una masaibu kwako chumbani, unaelewa nyumbani mwako, alafu unaniita mimi hujanieleza chochote nije nikusaidie matatizo yako. Itawezekana vipi? Mwenzangu, ningependa getilia maana. Nikienda moja kwa moja mpaka kwenye hoja yangu ya kwanza inayosema ufanisi wa kitamaduni na kieneo. Kivipi? Unajua jinsi na ambavyo tunaishi, jinsi na ambavyo tunakaa, jinsi sisi wenyewe tunaweza kusaidiana. Kwa hivyo tukiwa na jeshi letu la kuleta amani, itakuwa vyema kwa sababu sisi wenyewe tunajielewa. Itakuwa rahisi sana kwa sisi wenyewe kutatua migogoro yetu kwa wenyewe, kwa sababu sisi wenyewe tunajielewa, tunajua jinsi na ambavyo tutajisaidia. Na nikienda pia kwenye hoja yangu ya pili inayosema majibu ya haraka. Ni vipi ama jinsi gani tutapata haya majibu ya haraka tukiwa na jeshi letu la amani kama Afrika Mashariki? Ningependa kuambia kuwa jeshi la Afrika Mashariki linaweza kutoa majibu ya haraka kutokana na ukaribu wa kijiografia.
Public speaking on various subjects, on the other hand, Hot Suppers participants task their brains to give their best to secure the chance of getting to the final
round. We did not make this device. But this device and many others made by our friendly foreigners have helped us to innovate many sectors of our own economy. Entrepreneurship sectors, sectoral innovations, job creations, everything is done by the presence of technology. now is used to perform various transactions while purchasing items. You can store money. It also helps facilitate banking through your mobile phone.
Let's take how technology is sharpening. What is digital transformation? It is the integration of digital technology into every domain of business and society. It changes the way we operate and deliver services. Throughout Africa, digital technology are transforming industries such as agriculture, finance, healthcare, and education. In agriculture, we have mobile apps, farmers, drone surveillance, data analytics, which improve crop yield and for example, farming of Kenya relates counties and weather forecast directly to farmers for improving their productivity. Can you imagine having a weather? You are able to tell which climate you are expecting and which type of crop you can actually plant.
After the first round of the debate and public speaking, lunch is served. The second motion on whether or not African countries should establish African Climate Accord kicks off, with some teams proposing maximum operationalization of the existing frameworks to realize similar results.
African Climate Accord should be established by Africans because they are the one who knows best because they live in Africa, so they know what the problems in Africa according to climate.
We all know that climate is essential. It should be addressed urgently for favorable coexistence in a particular ecosystem. So, while an African climate accord is beneficial, there are very many reasons why we should approach this initiative cautiously. To my hope, we are going to see that we should not establish an African climate accord to avoid overlapping and coinciding with the existing frameworks. We have existing frameworks such as the Paris Agreement. We have others that are global, and so if we establish an African climate accord, we are going to overlap the already existing ones. And so we see that many African nations are already members of existing international agreements, which provides a framework for addressing climate change on a global scale.
Money and time factors also weigh in.
Once a great activist from Sweden, just Greta Thunberg, he said that change is coming, whether you like it or not. But can this change come in a collaborative, inclusive, and empowering process that respects the autonomy of different individuals? That is why we have alternative solutions. Alternative solutions like what? Bilateral understanding and regional framework. According to my statistics, 50% of countries have bilateral agreements with other countries. Underline, 50%. This is a statistic made by a research done by the Union. This bilateral agreement will go hand in hand with the SDG number 17, which says that partnership for the goals. Which means if we have partnership for these goals, we will have a greater potential of doing all what is contained in the Sustainable Development Goals. If we have reducing child mortality, we have reduction in inequality, we have economic growth and decent work. Those have peace, justice, and strong institutions. All those are under the SDG.
Number 2, implementation challenges. Now, mind you, when you talk about implementation challenges, you should know that the alternatives to establishing an accord. The alternatives to establishing an accord, we use up 9% of our GDP. Mind you, 9% of our GDP. But when you use an accord, you only use 2% of our GDP. 2% of our GDP, 9%, 2%. Come on guys, it's like 2% is better because 2% is going to help us do more things. It's going to help us fund resources in other things that will help benefit our nation, benefit our continent as a whole. Now, with that, I want to go to the first point, and that is strengthening the global negotiating power. As Africans, if you have an accord that links all Africans together, an accord that does not discriminate between Africans, to establish unity, something that will help Africa to move together as a whole. So when you talk about strengthening the global negotiating power, we all know that when it comes to the world, there are these nations, for example, the United States of America. Now these states, they're the ones of our power, such that when they say something, other countries, they do not even object. Now when Africa comes together as a whole, when Africa is working together, what's going to happen? Africa is going to have one voice. One voice, one people. Now when us as Africa we have one voice and one people, it's going to enable us to be heard in those international forums. It's going to enable us to actually have a voice, and that voice is going to help us to attain the change that we desperately need, because the division that is there in our ranks as Africans is not helping us at all.
Students give varied opinions to support and oppose the motion to justify their stand.
This house believes that, this house wants us. The proposers want us to establish the climate accord. This climate accord, first of all, to be established, as Africa said, is to establish something, is to start up something. This climate accord will need people, representatives from different countries, so that they come up together and make up these climate accords. Okay, accord like rules. To make up these rules. You know, these people, it's kind of time-consuming for them to come up with these rules that will govern the whole Africa. It will take much time. I prefer each country to have its accord. The first speaker talked about environmental challenges, of which she's not giving us into specialization. Which environmental challenges she's speaking of?
You want to hear from us. So if we don't want the establishment of the African climate accord, then this is what we want. Let us come up with a climate change mitigation act, which will do this. Number one, it will factor weather-driven migration in the design and construction of urban areas. Number two, it will promote sustainable growth, especially in rural communities. Number three, it will promote climate-friendly agriculture. Number four, it will provide easy access to climate and weather information. And lastly, it will increase intra-African cooperation to manage conflicts and provide disaster relief. And with that, do you still want to hear anything from us? That is what we have provided you. We've given you, apart from that establishment of the African Climate Accord, we've told you that we want the formation of the Climate Change Mitigation Act, and we have given you the funds.
I think that Pete mentioned some of the climate change, if the climate challenges that we face. He did not mention floods, winter. It's an example. He did not mention the effects of agriculture, the effects it will have towards agriculture. Is it not a challenge? It's a challenge. And aren't you guys know that Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's need. If we don't work on our today, then where is our tomorrow? If we don't focus on our today, where is our tomorrow? That's why I'm standing here to support that, to support the motion at hand that yes, we need a climate accord. We need an African climate accord. And also, I want to say this. You guys, you join us when you talk about sovereignty. You know, now it's not a time to talk about leadership, not talk about change consume. They're focusing on how the African climate accord will consume that time. I think they're dreaming about future. They are future guests of tomorrow. What do they want for you? What do they want to leave if not on our Africa? If you don't focus on Africa today, what will happen to you tomorrow? And when you mention South Africa and Nigeria, I talked about technologies. I wanted us to share some of the technologies that South Africa, for instance, has with some of our developing countries. Don't forget that some of the countries in Africa are way far much behind than even the developing countries. We have the developed countries, the European countries, where they haven't reached their goals, but
Debates continue with the third motion that states this House believes in the integration of artificial intelligence (AI) into the education system.
We know very well, according to our geography, the Earth rotates. So you cannot tell us that the position of Africa is causing the climate change. No, it has never switched. That was for the second speaker. And it's only because of the countries, the Western countries, they are the ones who bring about this problem in our country. And for this, we don't have to set up our own accord to handle this issue because we are not the origin of the problem, which is the other nations. And when we talk about NEMA, we was giving an example of an accord. We are not talking about united countries, we are talking about a specific countries, and many other countries have their own accords. And for this, we are saying about Africa itself requiring to have its own climate accord. This is not possible because, as we see, we are not sufficiently funded for this. We have huge foreign debts, and you know, we can't all do this for free.
And I believe we must now start thinking in the right direction. I believe I and my fellow parliamentarians for proposing this motion are in the right direction. Because you see, in many global accords, Africa is normally disregarded, with the UN FCC being the leading one, as displayed in the list of COP29 standards. As the late president of Kenya, former president of Kenya, the late Emilio Mwai said, you cannot bring European solutions to African problems. And that's what the other accords are doing. But our own accord will help us solve our own problems. If we do not speak up about our own problems will never be solved. And that's what I believe the African climate accord is bound to do. We are not talking of accumulating debts. We are talking of bringing our own resources. We are talking of adapting to whatever is going on. Your Honor, my fellow parliamentarians, I strongly urge you. I can ask you in the sweetest voice possible, kindly join our side as we propose this motion.
The teams disagree on the resources factor required to integrate AI in education, the session marking the climax of the day's activities.
Currently, very many things are being made to make our lives better. And making our lives better is much more wider than how we think of it. Making work better is not just making work much more efficient, but also easing the workload. Like for example, if right now, and all of us know that, if right now you are given like a summary, or you are being told to finish like a syllabus in just a day, like finish an entire syllabus, let's say for subject like mathematics, it should honestly be impossible to do by yourself. And with AI, you can surely do it. And this is because the way it business work is by releasing the burden on the learner about research. Because
point of information,
yes.
How exactly does it increase the burden on the learner about research? Or AI is actually doing it too much? You want to tell me that the AI information is giving that whole syllabus that you're talking about to become an information period of time? Can a student actually be able to put all that in their mind?
No. I said that it isn't work. And when I say by isn't work, this means that it makes the work much simpler. It can simplify the work for you. Like for example, you can understand math with very many formulas. It can just give you a short understanding of how the formula goes. You don't get it outright.
What do you want these students to do if you want to give them everything on a simple platter? The main function of a school, Your Honor, is actually to make students feel better, critical thinking, creative thinking. We lose all that by actually using the artificial intelligence system. For example, as you have stated the country, for example, USA. In USA, we actually have in USA they use an app called Newton. Newton literally when we put as it actually stated out correctly an example of mathematical formulas, right? Students are supposed to learn them, know how to use them. They're supposed to use critical thinking, creative thinking in every aspect of life. But actually, you want the artificial intelligence to actually do all the work for them. Put a question into the AI system, get the formula, you get the result, and you literally don't have to work for anything. Are you actually thinking about tomorrow's generation?
Ladies and gentlemen, developing, integrating, and maintaining the artificial intelligence system in schools requires significant financial investment in both infrastructure and training. This will divert funds away from other essential areas of education. And a 2023 report by the International Society for Technology in Education found that schools spend an average of $500,000 per year on artificial intelligence rather on so we can clearly see that if we integrate the artificial intelligence into our education system, then there is no need for having teachers in our schools. Now, integrating the artificial intelligence into the education system will lead to the job displacement of teachers and educational support staff, particularly in administrative roles or routine like grading and attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, a study done by the Pew Research Center in the year 2021 found that the artificial intelligence could automate up to 30%, I repeat, 30% of tasks currently performed by educators, leading to potential job loss and shifts in the education workforce.
First speaker in opposition came in to say there's 500,000 AI is used, 500 teams is used to help in integrating AI into the education system. Now, listen to the teams understand. This 500,000 that is being used, yes, it is a lot of money, but is it helping? Is it helping? Because where we are right now, for example, the first speaker came in and talked about Serap. Now, Serap is a form of AI. And 500,000 shillings have been funneled into the education system so that it can help us attain these functions that we have thanks to AI. Now, it will make our students to be programmed, not taught. The exact of the first speaker. The first speaker came in to say that it will make our students to be programmed and not taught. Now, it's my understanding that AI can adapt. Now, AI is our model. AI is something that can be used so that it can adapt to the changing circumstances, things that are currently changing in the environment. Now, if I use AI to teach my students, if I use AI to help my students in any way, AI can adapt so that the students will not be programmed, they'll be taught. They'll be taught according to whatever is going on in the world. They'll be taught according to the status quo of the world. So whatever she is saying is actually very wrong. Now, it will not lead to loss of jobs. Let me tell you why it will not lead to loss of jobs. There's something that you're not understanding. There's a difference between integrate and replace. When I say integrate, I mean introduce. What do I mean when I say introduce? When I say introduce, I mean add something to our working components in order for you to better it. So when I integrate AI into the education system, which by the way is not only comprised of teachers, the education system is something that's very large. It's a very large issue now. When I integrate AI into the education system, it is meant to help whatever is really done. That's why, for example, I have in the school I have teachers. These teachers, they spend a lot of time marking. Now marking, entering the results, telling them, it's a rapid to that. So AI does not replace. It only helps them to achieve whatever they want to achieve.
Hapa pia kuna matatizo ya kiufundi. Matatizo ya kiufundi. Hivi. Kwa mfano anayetumia robot. Kwa mfano leo robot ikiharibika, ni vipi utafanya mambo yako tena? Asante sana kiongozi. Nadhani pia wanakengeuka.
Nenaji watatu umesimama hapa. Nenaji watatu wa pili, samahani. Umesimama hapa na kumpa jaji utafiti wa kupitia simu. Je, hiyo ni utafiti kutoka mfumo wa akili bandia ama kutumia mwalimu wako kule darasani?
Nataka kujuze.
Vilevile unaweza kusema kuwa mfumo wa akili bandia unaweza kuwapotosha wanafunzi. La hasha. Wacha nikufahamishe kuwa tunazungumzia mfumo wa elimu, na unapotumia akili bandia kwa mambo mabaya ndipo yatakapokupotosha, bali ukitumia katika elimu utaweza kupata manufaa tena.
Wahenga anayeguza kukosea aliponena na kusema samaki mkute ingali mbichi kabisa. Mimi hapa Kevin kutoka shule ya Mtakatifu Maria kaunti ya Taita Taveta, Kenya. Nimesafiri huko kote na kuja kwa juzi wasichana wadogo hawa ambao bado hawajaimarika akili, kwa kuambia kuwa wapinge mada isemayo kikao hiki kinapendekeza ujumuishaji wa mfumo wa akili bandia katika mifumo ya elimu ya mataifa ya Afrika Mashariki. Kama mwenzangu alivyosema, nadhani mnatumia Google kwa kimombo au YouTube kusoma. Acha niambie, umekubaliana na mimi? Hiyo Google iko na zaidi ya video milioni 3 za ngono kweli mojaijua, ambazo zinaweza kutosha kama wanaume wanaharibu sehemu zao za siri kutumia hizo ngono. Kiangalia wakija kwa wakubwa, watoto wa mama zetu wanataka watoto, lakini ukiangalia wanaume hawana hizo nguvu za kuwapa mitandao. Kwa sababu ya nini mitandao? Na mmesema kwa TikTok, sawa, tumeka TikTok kando, tuangalie YouTube na Google penye mnatumia kusomea. Kama si ChatGPT mmetoa, hamjatoa kwenye Google, si mmetoa ukweli? Sasa hiyo Google yenyewe hapo kupenda hizo zaidi ya milioni 3 za video za mkono pia zinatoka hapo.
Sunday 1st December morning, the team is set for finalization of debating and public speaking competition. All is set with the results of the previous day's competition, determining eligibility to proceed into the final sessions of the debating and public speaking competition.
In the main break is Team Rubidium with 2 wins and 240 speaker points. So basically the way these breaks have been generated is that this main break is the main break, which means the top 8 teams of the tab, the absolute top teams, right, are what we refer to as the main break. The silver break would be from the 9th team until the 16th.
It is fireworks on the debate on prioritizing trade relations with West over China.
We see that when we prioritize trade with the West, it's only enough. Why? Because we do believe that it will create regional integration. According to the report that was done by the University of Nairobi, the Department of Science and Technology, it has proven that by us interpreting the trading relationship with the West, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to create regional integration, because the East strategic priorities should also consider the regional integration and cooperation with the Western countries, ladies and gentlemen. Strengthening trade relationship with the West can enhance regional stability. We are able to be stable in our economics because we prioritize trade with the West. We don't prioritize trade with the China.
Our trade partnership with China leading us to a death trap. But we as the proposers believe that our trade partnership with China will indeed save us from the death trap she's talking about. Now let me give you a brief history of our beautiful country, Kenya. Now you see, in Kenya we have trade partnerships with people from China, and this has given birth to the standard gauge railway. I know you might be wondering what is the standard gauge railway, but don't worry. You see, the standard gauge railway is a railway line that was built from funds which we got from China, which they loaned us, and you see that this railway line is able to connect different cities in Kenya. Cities such as Nairobi and Mombasa now is in that improvement, is in that development, and you see that from this standard gauge railway line, people are able to get jobs, and again, our gross domestic product was able to increase and rise. You know that this means improvement of our economy. When you talk of loans by over 20 countries, and over 20 countries are facing challenges to pay back these loans now. Please allow me to acknowledge once again and tell you that these countries are working on developing themselves, increasing their GDP so that they can improve their economy in order to get money to pay back these loans.
They say common sense is like a drug, but unfortunately, those who need it don't. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me the proposer to do my job. Think about Kenya. Look at Kenya. Look at what trade relationship with China has done to a country like Kenya. How many debts are there in Kenya? Why are they still there? How are they going to pay it? How? Let me give you statistics. According to African Development ESC countries have taken loans for large infrastructure projects, raising concerns about long-term financial sustainability.
Then she talked about prioritizing trade with the West will create job opportunities. We want us to compare jobs created by the West as against jobs created by China. Allow me to give you this. According to a report by Globe Jobs, China's relationships with other countries is the most job creating site in the world. It has created over 50,000 jobs, new jobs to be specific, annually. So you still want to fight against the West, against China. And as our lovely first speaker Hope said, by us prioritizing trade partnerships with China, number one, we'll be having more favorable trade terms. Two, we'll be attracting trade opportunities towards our East African countries. And don't we want to develop economically? Don't we want to increase, to raise our GDP? I believe we all do. We will be bringing about infrastructure development. Don't we want good roads? Don't we want easy transport for our goods and services? I believe we all do. Then she also talked about increase in economic growth, and I believe we all want to grow economically for our better future. So ladies and gentlemen, aside, sit down. Kindly don't accept to be led to the death trap by the opposers. Come to life and propose with us this motion. Thank you.
The final English debating session saw Beauty with Brains from Butere Girls lock horns with Mangu Boys on the motion on whether or not the rise of youth social media influencers is regrettable.
Media as it stands today can promote unrealistic standards and mental health issues amongst the youth, such that in the past 27 years, 13% of all suicides amongst the youth have been social media related. Now, as an explanation, many youth influencers, these that are in the topic of the section today, many youth influencers often promote unattainable lifestyles, bodies, habits, and so on, leading to feelings of inadequacy and anxiety in the depression of youth. Because you as a youth today, you're sort of like wet clay that has not been formed, that has not taken shape. So, as you access the internet to these youth influences that as side proposition we so regret their rise, as an impressionable youth, these people are molding you as clay, are molding you, are making you become this person who, as I said, is influenced on opinions, behaviors, practices, etc. These suicides that you often hear about, these mental health issues, mental hospitals which are chock full of youths, could be reduced by 7 times. The amount of youths in there could be reduced by 7 times if we regulate the content posted by the social media.
Why? Because you come here with facts, clear facts, and not rumors and propaganda that our freedom proposition trying to bring in this parliament. Honorable members of the jury, the industry that you're talking about currently is social media. And if you can look at the world right now, social media has been embraced. Everyone is using social media. The first speaker from the proposition said actually says, I also use Instagram. So how are you telling me that you actually regret it if you're also using it? It means that
we are not regretting the social media platforms, but the social media influencers as the influencers.
Since you also are influenced by using social media. Your Honor, it is unfair to generalize youth influencers that they contribute negatively into the social media platforms across the globe, worldwide. You know, we're actually not talking about one person who has gone wayward and decided to lead people astray. You know, quite actually, the United Nations media guidelines actually state that users must not post any content that is obscene, defamatory, profane, injurious, threatening, or harassing anyone. If they do so, there are approaches to actually counter doing wrong in social media. So you can't tell me that you're regretting something that you're regretting social media influencers who are actually bringing. Wait, first of all, you talked about cultism. Is cultism do the youth in social media, the social media influencers, are they the ones that actually reduce the cultism? Are they the ones that actually promote cultism using social media? Or is it the permissiveness in the society that actually promotes cultism that is going on everywhere right now? We had the Generation Z demonstrations, and they started through social media. Who are they? You know, the Generation Z actually, they are the youth currently right now. And you want to tell me you're regretting the social media influences that are actually helping to change the political instability in their country? They're actually trying to look for better solutions, a better way of government. You want to tell me that you actually want to regret that? What country do you want to live in then? Your Honor, it from social media actually as well has the social media influences they give about economic contributions to our country. Being the youth, actually, you know, the world has more youth compared to elders. The population consists generally of a lot of youth.
Each team put up a spirited fight of knowledge and intelligence.
I will say this, as I start my points, a chick stays in the fold of her hen until it matures. The reason why we're regretting the rise of youth influences is because they're emotionally immature to handle the impacts of social media. See, because as my first speaker said, it promotes unrealistic standards and mental health issues. Right now, as an impressionable youth, I want to look the best. I want to look good. I want to be the best. I want to sound the best. And then after 2 months, 3 months of being the best they can be and being him, and somebody comes and he feeds me completely, that will crush me. Yes? That will crush me emotionally, mentally, psychologically. How many issues have I stated? 3 for only 3 months of social media usage. Now,
Point of inquiry. Do you want to tell me that the same social media that you see you're saying leads to mental health, that it doesn't actually create awareness of mental health today?
it gets mental awareness after it has damaged me. Why? Do you need to tell me what I'm experiencing?
Point of inquiry.
You need to tell me what I'm experiencing. Let me continue. You'll have your questions time later. Now, according to a study by Morning Consult, it says that 86% of all mental health issues that Instagram influences contribute to anxiety, depression, and the fear of missing out. Fear of missing out in that social media has grown so large, embraced by so many people that you're saying that everyone wants to be a part of it. Everyone wants to feel included. Everyone wants to be commented with that one favorite influence of theirs. You stated that social media today has ethical guidelines and all. Ethical is dependent on perspective. A study was conducted and it was found that 86% of all youth want to be influencers in one way or another. 86% of all youth. As she said, the world is made up of youth, mainly these days. The main upcoming part of the world that wants to be influencers. Who's going to produce? Who's going to treat diseases? Who's going to cure the sick? Who's going to come up with that new car? Who's going to be an entrepreneur? Who's going to take care of the rest of the world when we're out there dancing in front of cameras for people to approve of our need for approval?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. And wisdom, Your Honor. Walk with the wise, and you shall be wise, Your Honor. And I would like you to join us and sail in the same boat with wisdom, because literally, what our proposers are saying are rumors. They are spreading rumors, and in Kiswahili we say porojo. Your Honor, this house will bless the rise of youth, social media influencers. I strongly oppose this motion, Your Honor. Empowerment and representation, Your Honor. Social media influencers provide a platform for diverse voices and perspectives, offering a representation that might be lacking in traditional media. Your Honor, I know you all know about the case of George Floyd. You all know about Black Lives Matter, don't you? Where did you know it from? The influences from social media. Your Honor, you all know about it.
You are.
I said it. Your Honor, economic opportunities, Your Honor, money. We all need money right now, Your Honor. The influencer industry has created new job opportunities and revenue streams for young people. Remember, for young people, these young people that we don't have jobs for them in our country, Your Honor. These young people that are looking for money, are looking for jobs, they literally have an opportunity, a platform where they can get money, Your Honor, where they can get an income from, Your Honor.
You talked about Black Lives Matter. Are you aware that this Black Lives Matter movement was exploited by the people above to serve an end?
But thank you very much. But did each and every person know about Black Lives Matter? It created public awareness. Did it not create public awareness through these influencers in social media? Your Honor, fellow parliamentarian, please get your facts right before spreading rumors. Your Honor,
social movement awareness. Yes, we have spoken about mental health issues. I don't disagree with that, Your Honor. But these social media influencers actually support cases of mental health awareness and also environmental sustainability. You know, Your Honor, right now what is the main problem right now in our globe, actually, it is climate change, Your Honor. Aluta, continue.
Clash of ideologies is witnessed as no team is willing to go down.
I mean that by closing their minds to the fact that these influencers do more harm than good, they want to feel safe. But we as side opposition, we are here to stand and shed light in this motion and the call are true. Now, how are we going to do this? We are going to start by rebutting every single one of their points that they have said. Number one, you said that they earn a living, but at the expense of who? They earn a living at the expense of the people watching them, at the expense of the people who give them money, us as the youth. That's number one. Number two, you speak of Kenya, most of the things in Kenya, but here I think the motion reads social media influencers. Not even you are limiting yourselves to Kenya only, but I am going to speak on the entire world at large. Number three, you said things on Mandamani, which by the way was escalated by these people who we call influencers. Number four, they talked about Black Lives Matter, which I just said, and I asked you at the expense of who?
No, Your Honor, what these people are trying to tell us, they're trying to tell us, yes, they regret. So you regret them once. What to do about it? You regret them once. You just regret and forever be a regret. You have no problem to solve it, okay? You have no solution to solve it. Okay, to the second speaker, you're talking about Tyler. You know, you guys are so confused that you don't even know what to say. Tyler is a musician, not an influencer. Tyler seems to entertain people, not to influence people. Don't you know the meaning of entertaining and influencing? And who told you that every youth with social media is an influencer? Do you know the meaning of, social media influencer is actually a job. It's actually a job. So not every person using on social media is actually a youth influencer. To our third speaker, we're talking about Mandamano escalated. But did you know the social media influencers, these youth social media influencers, were actually doing us a favor? They were actually doing us a favor because if the bill had passed, which step would we be in right now? Would you guys be surviving right now? Do you know what that bill contained? Some of us are not even aware. It's because of the people that we follow, these youth social media influencers, we got to know this bill. We're also talking about people causing these social media youth influencers causing us problems. You know, people have their own problems. And then all problems you blame it on social media influencers. Your Honor, I have my own problems, you have your own problems. But then people just want to find somebody to blame, and then they put this blame on social media influencers. Is it fair for them?
The Mangu boys managed to trounce their counterparts, and as a show of cohesiveness, the two teams shake hands. The judges weigh in too.
I would say majority of the students are very creative and also very open to feedback, which is a good strength to have as a public speaker, being open to feedback, being willing to listen to what you have to be told, to be able to improve. The semi-final round that we just had, it was about freedom of speech and hate speech. A lot of these kids came up and talked about their personal experience in terms of like the country, talked about the effects freedom of speech had. These are kids who are able to evaluate and think critically on what their country has done before and where they could foresee. Most of these people gave solutions, critical solutions on what they could possibly do in their position to be able to enhance and make a better country. So I definitely think it gives them a good opportunity for creative thinking and a good opportunity to express themselves in a way that does not diminish anyone, because at the end of the day, in as much as you have the expression and the freedom of expression, one needs to learn to know how to disseminate that information, not just freely talking about it.
Kwa majina naitwa Casto Godwin, ni mwanafunzi wa chuo cha diplomasia, chuo cha mahusiano ya kimataifa na diplomasia. Pia ni jaji katika debate hizi za Afrika Mashariki. Wanafunzi wamekuja hapa, wamekutanika moja kwa moja ili kuweza kudiscuss mada mbalimbali ambazo zimeimarisha mambo ya cooperation, mambo ya cultural exchange, ambayo imeonyesha kwamba kuna viongozi ambao wanatokea huku kwenye sekta kama za wanafunzi ambao wanaongeza uzoefu wao na umahiri kupitia hizi debate ambao ni viongozi wa future ijayo. Na kupitia hizi debate tumeona kwamba kuna mada mbalimbali ambazo zinajadiliwa ambazo zinaweza kuleta mustakabali mkubwa katika bara letu la Afrika, katika nchi yetu ya Tanzania, katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kwa hiyo ninashukuru sana na naomba wazazi na walezi pamoja na wanafunzi wengine waje kwa wingi, wajitokeze kushiriki debate hizi za Afrika Mashariki.
Hello, my name is Aisha. Mimi ni judge hapa Shirihindul Mandal. Yaani debate ambazo nimefanya zote, hii iko kidogo imenichukulia ugumu sana. Lakini inabidi wajitahidi. Hakuna mbaya, hakuna mzuri zaidi. Wote ni sawa. Okay, thank you.
The two-day event ended by the closing ceremony of speeches and award session to the participants.
1, 2, 3. Mungu ibariki Mang'uhai, ibariki viongozi wake katika michezo, masomo. Mang'uhai tuwe washindi.
Mangu Boys High School, Chewoyet Boys High School, and Tigoi Girls High School teams are crowned the 2024 Dar Open Debate and Public Speaking Competition in English, Swahili and French languages respectively.
As you can see, this is not a Tanzanian school. This is Mangu High School from Kenya. So after we finished dominating in Kenya, we decided to come to Tanzania, and as you can see, the narrative is still the same. We have the medals, we have the trophy.
The fact that we are standing here today, knowing that by God's grace, we've been able to come out of this place holding trophies, medals, certificates. It's one of our lives to have ever been given this opportunity.
And that challenges is what makes a man. And as we stand here before you, these are the Mangu men that you present.
So thank you to God, thank you to our teachers, our biggest supporters, our parents. We really thank you and we really appreciate the support you've given us today. And as you can see, your support paid off.
I'm super proud of Mangu men. They've made us proud. They've carried the name of the school high. We are happy.
We are very happy, and we know that God is going to continue blessing us so that we may go beyond East Africa, go to Africa competition, and also the world at large.
The clan patrons from the various schools shared their experiences.
My name is Fatma Meso. I'm the patron Amani Club Girls High School from Taita Taveta County. Brought 2 teams to this East Africa Amani Debate Championship 2024. The debate has been so good. I want to appreciate the organization for this event. The girls, the students have been accommodated nicely. The challenge is so good. So gratitude to the organizing this event.
My name is Masoka Nixon. I'm a teacher at River Boys High School. River Boys National School is in Kilifi County. We are happy to be here in Dar es Salaam for the East African Debating Championships, that is debating for peace. The journey has been quite cumbersome, but we thank God we have arrived safely. The debating for peace championships are good. It's one way of learners learning to make meaningful connections. It's not just debating for the sake of debating. We're also training learners on emotional intelligence, on how to handle the emotions, on how to interact with the rest, because we're also looking at the networking. We have hope for United Africa, a borderless Africa, because you look at the kind of clearance that takes place at the immigration points. You feel like these are not Africans, let's say. But now we believe that by this kind or through this kind of interactions, we will finally get to the United Africa, whereby we can have a borderless Africa, visa-less Africa, where even learners can move from one country to another without major hurdles.
Naitwa Mwalimu Juma kutoka shule ya wasichana ya Kangubiri. Tunashukuru kwa maandalizi yaliyofanywa na Bwana Kunani. Nadhani haya masuala yakitiliwa maanani yatawafaa wanafunzi, hasa katika mazingira ya kuzua ubunifu wa mawasiliano na pia kukuza kiwango chao cha lugha. Na tunaomba kwamba walimu washirikishwe kwa undani ili kuwafaa wanafunzi.
I am Madam Irene Koren from Queen of Rosary Secondary School in Kenya, and we have come to participate for this Amani Club competition, and I'm happy because the students are being put outside the box. They are being given topics outside the box. For example, they are given pictures to talk about, and this is something that they have never gone through, even in our preparation. So the fact that they are given something that they have never thought about it, and they are able to attend and happily say that it was their first time, but they have gained the experience. It is something that is encouraging, because it makes us know that as teachers, we are not only we are not only drilling them for something, but even as we are teaching them, they are able to take the skill we are giving them and apply appropriately. And that is the aim of education. It's not to produce robots, but it is to produce people who are able to critically think, people who are able to appreciate everything around them.
Kwangu jina ni Bwana Chibole Vincent Manyasa kutoka shule ya wavulana ya Butere nchini Kenya. Kwanza kabisa nitoa shukrani za dhati kwa mwalimu mkuu wa shule ya upili ya wavulana ya Butere kwa ufadhili ambao ametufadhilisha kusafiri kutoka nchini Kenya hadi hapa nchi ya Tanzania, mkoa wa Dar es Salaam. Tumekuja kwa ajili ya mchuano wa Amani Club. Na kwa hakika mchuano huu umeleta vijana kutoka kanda nzima ya Afrika Mashariki kwa ajili ya kujuana na kujifunza mengi ambayo tumejifunza katika mchuano huu ni kwamba vijana wametangamana na vijana wenzao kutoka nchi mbalimbali. Hivyo basi ni njia moja ya kukuza talanta. Nia yetu ya kuanzisha vilabu vya amani katika shule mbalimbali ni kwamba siku hizi tuna masuala ibuka katika vijana. Hivyo basi lazima kama walimu tujue mbinu mbadala za kusuluhisha matatizo ambayo yanaibuka. Na tatizo kuu linaweza suluhishwa tu kwa njia ya amani. Ni rahisi mno kupitia kwa vyama kama hivi au vilabu vya Amani Club, kwa sababu kufunzwa mambo mengi kuhusiana na masuala ibuka kwa vijana.
Majina anaitwa Mr. Wakoli Dennis. Ninafunza shule ya Cheweyet National School kule West Pokot, Kenya. Kule kwa Kinamulu Munwas, kijana fupi round. Ujui mbele iko wapi na nyuma. Na ninataka kusema nimekuwa na wakati mzuri, nimeenjoy kuwa Tanzania, na ujumbe tu mmoja ninataka kupatiana kama mwalimu. Tumeweka wanafunzi wote pamoja. Wanafunzi wa Uganda wako hapa, wanafunzi wa Tanzania wako hapa, wanafunzi wa Kenya wako hapa, wanafunzi wote kutoka East Africa wako hapa. Ujumbe tunaopatiana ni kwamba umoja ni nguvu, utengano unaleta madhara. Kenya ni yetu, East Africa ni yetu. Tunataka kuambia wanafunzi wote katika East Africa kwamba tunapokuwa united tutaishi kwa pamoja na tutakuwa na maendeleo.
I am Emmanuel Ronaldo, a teacher of English and Literature from St. Monica, Chakol. Now it feels nice being a part of this competition or this session. Since once we come together as the East African community, we work on one major goal or objective of Amani Club, which is inclusivity and peace-keeping among the communities that are urban in the East African region. So it feels nice to be here, it feels nice to take part in the competition, it feels nice to be out, socialize and interact, and of course learn one or two from each person we meet.
I am Madam Mary Kiminyu, a teacher of English and Literature. I teach at St. Cecilia Lufobo Girls. I am happy to be part of the East Africa Schools debate this year. It is a good opportunity for students, teachers, and of course patrons to interact with each other and also learn the varied cultures in East Africa as we promote peaceful coexistence in our learning institutions between, or that is amongst the students and other countries and regions in Africa and the world.
My name is Mr. Opaki Barasa. I've brought a team, one Kiswahili team from SEK St. John's Kusero Mixed Secondary School that is in Kakamega County. I believe this experience is an informative experience and my students have learned quite a lot, equally as a patron. Well, the reception in Tanzania has been quite overwhelming and the stay has been peaceful and we've really enjoyed everything and we believe that we've learned quite a lot.
My name is Madam Vespa Anyoka. I come from Malindi, a school called Barani Secondary School in Malindi Sub-County, that is Kilifi County. I want to appreciate this opportunity because our students, the way I can look at it up to this point, they are able at least to socialize with the other students from Tanzania and other countries and also among themselves, which is a great opportunity. We want to thank our principals from Kenya for supporting this course as a way of promoting peace in East Africa.
I'm Mary Wanjiro from Kenya in a school called St. Teresa Moipita Dance High School. We are here for the Eastern African Debate Competition in Tanzania, where the reception was good. Our students are really learning from this competition where they're interacting with different students from various countries. We really want to thank our able principal, Margaret Minene, and for giving us the opportunity and for the rest of the principals. We are hoping for more opportunities that will come our way.
Since we came here, it has been an awesome experience as we see our students are debating on various issues. They have demonstrated eloquence, understanding of the issues that are affecting East Africa and Africa at large. And this experience or these debates will go a long way to promote peace, unity and cohesion, and also promote integration, Eastern African integration.
From Ribe to Tanzania, Dar es Salaam in Tanzania is a very long journey, especially the stretch from the Lunga border to Dar es Salaam town itself. It was a very long stretch. We took more than 8 hours on the road. We were moving by bus. And one thing I noticed about this country, it is the heat. The temperatures are too high, especially comparing with the local town where I come from, Kenya. The temperature is exceedingly high. I've not put on a pullover since I arrived in Tanzania. The people here are friendly. The debaters we're interacting with are very friendly and they have the content and the mastery of the motions that you're discussing with. The general feel is that the feeling of interacting with these East African citizens is very good. And I appreciate that experience.
Jina langu ni Kinywa. Mimi ni mwalimu pale Mari Girls. Wanafunzi wangu wanatoka kule jimbo la Taita Taveta. Na safari yangu kuja mpaka huku Dar es Salaam Tanzania kufanya mashindano ya debates na wale wanafunzi wa Amani ama chama cha Amani. Nimeona itawasaidia kukuza talanta zao na itawafanya kuwa na ule ujasiri labda kukabiliana na mambo tofauti tofauti hata tukirudi kule nchini. Haswa tumepata Watanzania ni watu wakarimu na watu ambao wako accommodative, wanapenda wageni. Sasa wale wanafunzi wanajisi wako nyumbani na wanafurahia kutangamana nao, na nafikiri wakirudi kule watataka kuwahimiza wenzao pia na wapate muda wa kuja huku kupata tajriba zaidi.
The event organizers led by Mr. Dominic Famba and Amani Club officials led by Kennedy Kunani, who is also the organizing secretary of the group, also shared the experiences and proposals for the future.
East Africa, as we know, has so much violence going on, and through the Amani debate, we are able to learn values and virtues that are enhanced through peace, love and unity.
The Kenyan system, the education system is quite different from the Tanzanian one, but we found a commonality of knowledge and experiences that has brought students to debate about topical issues from the East African community, Africa and abroad, where they interrogated issues that are of global importance really to them.
Amani clubs are there to promote peaceful coexistence in our learning institutions, and this is one way of us extending this objective outside our country. As students interact with others from other regions, I think this is the only way we are able to build a stronger East Africa, and this is how we are able to achieve integration in the easiest way possible.
I would appeal to the Ministry of Education to fully support the Peace Club, maybe elevate the Peace Clubs, the Amani Clubs to the level of the sports in Kenya, level of drama, music. If all schools are brought on board, I believe that we can do better.
The cost of transporting the participants is quite high. The cost of offering subsistence is equally very high. Then there is the cost of processing their documents in readiness for the process, and even the cost of running the research program, because the questions, the items that have to be discussed require a lot of research. We think, and I think that it would be good that going forward, as we think of embracing global partnership and we think of embracing CBC, it would be nice to see the Ministry of Education consider that Amani and debating clubs are also budgeted for, as we budget for other co-curricular activities.
The event has been affected by that the national examination in Tanzania for high school is still running, and the schools that normally participate, like Shaban Robert, Feza School, Aga Khan, Braiban, they're all engaged in the national examination. And that's why the management has thought it will be harmonized in future so that it does not interfere. The event does not interfere with the examination. We shall look at it to happen immediately after the examination.
Monday, 2nd December, all roads lead to the beach where students enjoy the serene environment and swimming in the salty waters of the Indian Ocean. Monday evening the same day, the team start off on the journey back to Kenya amid the challenges due to slight overweight of one of the buses at the weighbridge stationed at different locations. The two buses reached Mombasa on Tuesday, 3rd December, the following day at about 5 p.m, where some of the students and patrons sought for night accommodation in the nearby schools to proceed with the journey on Wednesday.
We just arrived from Dar es Salaam, and bearing in mind that the program did not go the way we expected, due to delays of the way, we've decided that some teams have to spend their night in Wa Girls, while other teams have to spend their night in Rube. So whatever we're seeing at the moment, we are having some very single vehicles so that the team that we will work and we will work and then proceed to Rube and proceed so that they can continue their journey.
Most students alight at different points as majority proceed to Ribe Boys High School, arriving at about 8 p.m.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.